to Mental Health Monday with your girl, Tony Denise Lattimore, licensed marriage and family therapist. And today we have an exciting topic. We are talking about, do you want to have effective communication? If you do these five. We got five things today that we're going to be emphasizing to have effective communication. All right. So we all communicate daily. We communicate on our jobs, we communicate to kids, we communicate to our spouses, to our boyfriends, we communicate to our animals, right? And so communication is a must. So, in order to communicate effectively, as I said, I'm going to give you five things to do. All right. I am a couples therapist. I also do adult individual therapy. All right. And so these are things that I have seen over and over again in therapy when my clients present. And so these have been proven as I have worked with my clients to help you communicate effectively. Let's talk about number one in effective communication. One is stop. Stop with the assumptions. That is one of the number one things that I see happen, occur in the session, especially with couples, right? It is making assumptions. And so assumptions happen for different reasons. Sometimes you assume that you know that other person so well and what they're going to say that you don't give them room to even make their own statement. And so people say things like, I assumed, or they most times don't say I assumed. They'll say, I already knew that he or she was going to say this, or that. So I didn't ask them, or I didn't say anything to them. And a lot of times, you know what's underneath that? It's just fear. It's fear of having the conversation. It's fear of being, of rejection. It's fear of maybe I won't get my way. So stop with the assumptions. If you want to have effective communication, stop with the assumptions. Assumptions, that is number one. Number two, and I'm sure you probably heard this before, listen to hear, hear. That's why we got two ears and one mouth. Two ears, one mouth. Listen to hear and not respond. So, what I see so often is people are listening only to make their comment, right? Yeah, and they're really not listening. That's what that really means is if I'm listening, I pick up on keywords, right? I'm assuming a lot of times what I heard you say because I'm not really sitting there listening, trying to hear what you're saying. I'm trying to get my statement or my comment or my rebuttal so that I can say what I need to say. So, start number two, listening to really hear what the person is saying. It's called active listening, right? So, really actively paying attention. And so, what I tell my clients a lot of times is take notes, right? Especially for couples. Take notes on what you really heard them say. Because when you sit there a lot of times and you're trying to absorb it, what's happening is messages that you are thinking is going coming at the same time as what you think you're hearing them say. So if you jot it down, it really helps you to hear what they are saying. Sometimes verbatim, sometimes not, right? But it gets clarity. It gives you clarity. Number three, which goes along with the active listening piece. You're going to repeat what you heard back. And so I like to ask the client, what did you hear so and so say? What did you hear that person actually say? And a lot of times, what happens is What they say they heard the person say is not what the person said. So then the person has to clarify, right? That gives space, but I like to do it in session because it is, I can model for them a helpful way of saying it so that a lot of times the other person will be able to receive it. So sometimes it's the person may have heard it, but they can't actually understand what the other person is saying. So we may go over that over and over until they learn how to really understand what they heard, right? So it's through the repetition. So repeat back, what did you hear this person say? And so you can have it wrote down, but then when you say it back, that person may be like, I heard them say this, but I don't understand still what they're saying, right? And so then we go over that in session, and the person can then break it down. Well, this is what I mean, because maybe that person is having difficulty really getting clarity on what the person said to them. All right, so that's number three, repeating back. So we got stop making assumptions, we got listening to hear and not to respond. And then we have repeating back what you heard the person said. And then clarity can come with that, right? Getting clarification. Number four, this is big, creating a safe space. So sometimes issues, I tell my clients, especially those things that may be difficult to talk about, create a safe space in order to be able to discuss these different things. Okay. So, a safe space and possibly a time, right? So, you may meet once a week. Create the space for us to be able to talk. What that does is signals to your brain that, oh, we're going to the safe space, whatever that is. Safe space could be in your bedroom, it could be meeting at the dining room table, it could be we're sitting on the couch. But create that space so when y'all say, hey, it's safe space time, you know that your brain is now being signaled to, okay, we have our safe space. I can say what I need to say. I can discuss what I need to discuss. And I feel safe because we have created this safe space for us to be able to really just have good conversation. So you're going in there with an open heart. You're not going in there closed minded. You're going in there really trying to understand, really trying to listen. So, what the safe space does is it helps with number two that we talked about, listening, and then listening to hear, right? Because I know that this is what we do every week, per se, right? Not per se, but every week we have our meeting, and we have it in our safe space. So, I feel comfortable because we have our safe space to be able to talk about whatever it is. So, number four helps with number two. And then creating a safe word. So it was some movie, and I think, who was it? Kevin Hart. I think he said pineapples. He used the word pineapples, right? And so that safe word, anytime that word is used, it stops the conversation, because what that means is the other party or parties both may be shutting down. And so it doesn't really make sense for you to keep talking about it if nobody is understanding, comprehending, really being able to take in what each other is said. So I like to create a safe word. It can be whatever you choose it to be. That is you all safe word, and you use it as needed, right? The caveat to the safe word is you have to come back to this discussion. So the person who calls for the safe word, right, who calls, let's just say pineapples, right, who says pineapples, they have to then be the one to come back and call the meeting again, right? We have to get through this because effective communication means that we're learning how to work through these tough issues or conversations, okay? So if you use the word you have to and within the same day. So sometimes it may get heated, and so that person may need to really calm down. And so it's okay to take a moment to calm down. I like to say within the hour for you to come back. I don't set a definite time, but I like to say within an hour until the end of the evening. You cannot go to bed and you haven't come back and addressed that issue. So whoever calls safe word has an hour to the end of the night for you to go back and discuss and effectively try to come up with a solution to whatever the issue is. All right. So I just gave you 5 tips. 5 tips on how to effectively communicate. We got stop making the assumptions, right? Ask the question. Oh, here's the bonus. Number 6, ask the questions. Ask questions. That's how you learn. Assumptions stop you from being inquisitive. So ask the questions. That's bonus number 6. So, 1, stop making assumptions. Number 2, listen to hear and not respond. Number 3, repeat back. We're talking about active listening here. What you have heard and get clarity. Number 4, create a safe space for you to have this effective communication in. And number 5 is creating a safe word. So, in case it gets too intense, you call the safe word, you use the safe word, and then you make sure you readdress it by the end of the night. And then the bonus is number 6, ask questions. Don't assume, ask questions. All right, that was today's Mental Health Monday. I hope you will implement these 5 plus 1, the bonus, into your communicating. And that can be on your job, that can be anybody you need to communicate with. These are effective, this is an effective ways. These are effective communication skills that you can use to help you communicate better. All right. Thank you all for joining. And if you liked what you heard, go ahead and subscribe. All right. Go ahead and hit the bell so you can get more mind altering messages every Monday. All right. Go back and watch the replay and then tell your friend, tell a neighbor to subscribe to Tony Talks. See you next week. Bye bye.